Information security is one of the most important topics in technology today. Is your data secure? Bring Your Own Security Radio is here to help keep you up to date on the latest trends, software, and apps to make sure that your data stays secure. Bring Your Own Security Radio is about to begin. Here are your experts, Dave and Jason.
Woo! The crowd goes wild. Yay! That's right. That's right. This is Bring Your Own Security Radio. I'm Dave.
I'm Jason.
And tonight we are going to kind of change modes on you a little bit. Normally, Jason and I try to get, either vendors of different InfoSec products, or we try to find people who have been in the field or have written books or have done some crazy kind of research or hacked something that they maybe shouldn't have hacked, and we have to disguise their location. Tonight, we're not doing any of that. Tonight, we're going to bring you...
None of that.
That's right. Tonight, we're going to bring you a young man who is a college student who actually has some job experience as well, but he started an OWASP chapter out of the University of Cincinnati about a year ago. And as we get through this interview, Jason, you are going to be surprised at where they've landed as far as the people that they've met and the donations that they've received already, the volume of people that they have coming to these things. I got to go up and visit them last night, and pretty surprising that these I want to call them kids because I'm old enough to be all of them's dads, as bastards. But shut your face. I was going down the steps. They're like taking me over for a tour, and we had to go down these steps. I just had my knee surgery, and I went to walk down one of the steps, and I'm like, crap, I do feel old. That's not even because I'm old. It's because I had a knee surgery, but I felt old. So, yeah, whatever. But it was a good time. We had a good time, and anyway, so we're going to bring him on. But before that, Jason finally, can we break the good news? Jason gets to go to Black Hat. Yay, Jason! Wait a minute, let's see if the crowd goes wild.
Well,
that's right. So Jason will be there.
The finance thing's working in the background right now.
So there you go. So I won't have to go out and bring you Black Hat by myself. Jason's actually going to bring you a different segment. He'll get to talk a little bit about the trainings that he's going to do, and then he and I will be at Black Hat together, and then he's going to go home, and I'm going to head off to DEF CON and see if I can go hack something. So should be an interesting week. Right on. So, yeah, man. All right. Well, before we get jumping and get crazy, I want to make sure I remind everybody about our show sponsor, ANSI. And if you don't know anything about ANSI, they are the American National Standards Institute. If there's a standard about something, they probably wrote the book on it, literally. So if you don't know anything about ANSI, go check them out, ansi.org. And thanks again to them for being such a friend to our show and keeping us on the air. So on.
If you don't know ANSI, where you been?
That's right. There's probably a joke in there somewhere. If you don't know it yet, I don't know what that joke is, but there's probably a good one in there somewhere.
I'm not trying to make it sound like an Ovaltine commercial or anything.
That's right. Okay. Right on. All right. Well, let's just jump right into it. So let's get our guest on the air, and let's just kind of jump right into things. So, hello, caller. Are you on the line? That was my best 1-800 voice. Sorry.
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, good to have you. I want you to take a minute and kind of just introduce yourself a little bit by virtue of who you are and what you're doing these days, and then we'll kind of reach into the how I found you sort of thing.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Anthony Cardarelli. I'm a fifth year now at the University of Cincinnati. Going to be going on to my master's. Going to be getting that in computer science with a specialization in cyber operations, as the University of Cincinnati is a center of academic excellence for cyber operations. It's pretty cool. I have a little over maybe a year and a half of experience in the field. I've worked as a cyber analyst and more recently as a DevOps engineer building some cool tools. And I founded Cyber at UC with a couple of my buddies just a little over a year ago now.
Well, so that's that's a mouthful, and it's a lot to do. And I'm only guessing age, but you're what, like 22, 23 years old right now, give or take.
You hit it right on the head, 22.
Yeah.
Right on. So there you go. So within that realm within that age group, normally you have one of two ranges of college students. You either have a college student who has been heavy in the books and not heavy in the real world yet in their field. They might have had retail or fast food experience, but you've been lucky enough to tie your field of study into some real world hands-on experience while you're in school. How did that start off as some type of internship or something, or how did you end up being able to do exactly what you're studying to do?
I'm pretty lucky because the University of Cincinnati has a really great co-op program where if you're an engineering student, you're required to have something like 5 semesters of experience in the field before you graduate. You can't even graduate without it. But funny enough, how I ended up where I was actually doing a software development job and bumped into some people who worked in the field, and one thing led to another after a lot of talking, and that's kind of how I find myself in the field. I was a software development co-op, and just through networking, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think we talked about that a little bit last night. It's a lot of this industry is certainly maybe not what you know. Some of it is definitely who you know and or how much you're willing to just get out and network yourself or market yourself. So good deal. What? So let's talk a little bit about UC. You've already mentioned them, some of their designations, but you and I ended up in a conversation last night about how you guys ended up making a connection with the NSA to some extent, and those connections have already borne some fruit for you guys. Can you talk a little bit about that, or as much as, Jason works for the government, so he knows about these 3-letter agencies, so we're, I don't know if you can talk about Fight Club, but if you can, however much you can say.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really great. I think I got to hand it to our faculty advisor for our chapter, John Franco. He spent some time in the NSA, and I think had some good connections there. Ended up getting designated as that Center of Academic Excellence. So I think we started getting a lot more attention from the NSA after we were approved. I don't even know if I want to say approved. After we were selected, the University of Cincinnati, for getting roughly about $2 million from the state of Ohio to build the first cyber range here, and about 200 of that going to our organization, Cyber at UC, to build a lab. So the last couple times they've been down, they really like what they see. It's really a great connection to have, especially because we have some professors up that work very closely with them. So.
I want to touch base on one very important thing that you just said. That donation, that grant, not donation, but the grant that you just mentioned is huge. I mean, you guys are a 1-year-old program, and you're talking about a couple $100,000 already funneling your way as just a university club. I mean, that's basically what you guys are, right? Just how does the university classify the Cyber at UC group that you have founded?
Well, so we started as a grassroots organization, had no connection with the faculty, and one of the requirements for getting that sum of money was to have an active student organization. So that kind of helps. Since then, we've become an official organization through the University of Cincinnati and designated by our Director of Cyber Research Initiatives, Vicki Baker. She designated us as the University of Cincinnati's official cyber, InfoSec-related group. So I think that has a lot of the reason, or is a lot of the reason, why we get to play with some cool toys and have been very, very fortunate with this grant.
Hey, that's pretty impressive. So switching gears a little bit, What drew you to cybersecurity?
Well, funny enough, I was working for private contractors doing software development over in Boston for a co-op, and it was there that just in my free time and talking with my boss, we got pretty close. He started, talking to me a lot about and teaching me a lot about networking, using Python and sockets and, building tools, web scrapers, this, that, and the other. And I just got really interested in the Internet of Things and just security in general, security of sites, and that kind of, led me on a path of my own research. I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. So it was a semester after that I started really digging deep into the field and said, you know what, this looks like something that I want to learn more about and get more involved in. So I wanted to join an organization, and there really wasn't an active one on campus, and that's where the chapter came from. And I just find the whole field fascinating. I love the culture. It's a really great culture. The conferences are always a great time. Yeah. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, it sure does. So let's go back to what would be some of your first tech that that kind of drew you into this?
First tech that drew me into
Just I would say, like, is there something that like, say, your first computer, any type of internet activity? I mean, what?
So, there's a saying, I don't know who's it from, or I've just heard it a couple times, saying, the things that you do for work, if you end up doing something that may be somewhat associated to a hobby or something you had as a kid, might mean it's the right field for you. And growing up, actually, and I didn't even put my finger on this, until kind of later on, in college. But growing up, I loved jailbreaking iPhones, iPods, customizing them, get my Android phone, putting custom OS on there, kind of just hacking around with things, breaking things for sure, fixing them again. So I think, like, back to those days, that's probably where I first kind of found my fascination with computers and how things work and exploiting things, I guess.
Jason, did you realize that he said that his first thing was like jailbreaking iPhones? And like everybody else that we ever have on the show, they're first talking about like their Commodore 64.
Yeah, about
and
86s.
Yeah, or like one dude was like, I used to hack bulletin board systems, which is what I remember. That was like my first deal, was hacking bulletin boards. And now somebody finally comes on the show, and their first thing that they can remember is jailbreaking an iPhone. So,
yeah, different generation, I guess.
That's right. Kudos to you for pissing me off and making me feel old. So, yeah. Oh my gosh.
You're an easy target, Dave.
That's right. Well, it's funny is I was just wondering what the answer to that. I mean, I knew that you would ask that, so I was wondering what the answer would be. And sure enough, he at least could have said, well, my dad used to have an Atari system or something, but no, he couldn't even go that far. He just like iPods, iPhones.
He spared you some embarrassment, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, at least he could have said, well, I remember this Atari back in the day. Miss Pac-Man was my favorite game. No, right to the iPhone, man. Right to the iPhone.
Yeah.
So, right on. So let's talk a little bit about what, so we've talked about the college and University of Cincinnati, and we've certainly established that somehow or another in the last year that organization that you founded, Cyber at UC, and the university has certainly joined together in holy matrimony of some level. But let's talk about what you're doing with that. Now that you have it, now that you're up and running, my understanding is you are an official OWASP chapter. Is that correct?
Yes. We've reached out through all the proper channels and have established that, and it's pretty great. But we do a lot of things. There's a lot of things that we like to focus on. Education, outreach, research, and socializing are kind of our four main pillars.
When I was there last night, you guys were getting ready to have a kind of a GitHub night. You guys were all going to get together and talk about different projects that others have going on and may have uploaded to a GitHub, and that you guys tend to want to, at least I think last night was your first night where you were going to start having a night where you let's talk about projects, and let's kind of pick one and kind of dig into it and see if we can help develop it. I mean, that's a pretty good idea. What other types of, from a month to month or meeting to meeting kind of schedule, what are the things that you guys are doing up there with your chapter?
So, let's see. Last spring semester, we kind of followed along the Certified Ethical Hacker Certificate coursework. So we tried to craft all of our meetings to focus on some key points of kind of that certificate. So, we did everything from, directory GON and direct recon, talking about cryptography, the basics of networking, cross-site scripting. Really, we like to do it all. We're trying to focus in the future, hopefully being able to kind of follow along more certificates, curriculums, just because I think that a lot of people in the industry today expect that kind of experience or having a certificate. So I think that'd be nice to help out the students in the chapter with that. But that's what we do at the chapter. Outside that, we're doing outreach to high schools and, attending CTFs and hackathons and doing a lot of other fun stuff.
Yeah, we ultimately found last night that you and I had met people in common as far as different local to us people that were doing, like you said, CTFs and a few security cons and things like that. How long did it take you to realize, and it seems like it was pretty quick, but what drove you to realize that making those connections early clearly they're benefiting you, but have the incoming freshmen or the sophomores who are part of your group, have they truly recognized the value of those relationships of going to those events, even if they don't yet know how to do those things? Are they, not learning, but are they getting something out of those events? Can you tell yet?
Yeah, I really do think so. And in fact, it's more than just incoming freshmen. One thing that actually made me really happy when I was at this last B-Sides this year, the previous year we had gone out to Loveland High School and ran a kind of a CTF kind of competition, just going over basic bash, utilizing over-the-wire war games. But we brought 3 of the students that did the best on our little event out at Loveland and brought them out to B-Sides, 2017 B-Sides. They enjoyed it, and that was awesome. Well, flash forward to this year, actually, one of the students that came with us last year showed up on his own accord. It was really cool to run into him and see that he kind of was, hitting the ground running and taking a liking to the community. Beyond that, our members in the chapter have, found great connections going to these meetings. We've met some very, very interesting people in conferences like NICE, people involved with agencies, and just great sources of content that, we're always trying to tap into and get people to tell us more about, cool stuff.
Nice. For those of you just joining in, Jason and I tonight are talking with Anthony Cardarelli. He is from the University of Cincinnati, cyber at UC, if you want to check them out. And we're talking about his events, his groups, and the university itself. So let's cut over a little bit to you. And maybe you mentioned that you're a 5th year and you might have some other seniors coming up. Is everybody that's in your group or organization that is that close to graduation, are you guys all looking at InfoSec as a career path, or is everybody starting to find their niche and going opposite directions, or do you have a sense yet how that's turning out?
Well, I know for a fact that, man, at least 2 or 3 members have full-time jobs with companies and are doing InfoSec-related work. Some big contractors, and that's really cool to see. As for some of the younger members, just trying to get that first co-op experience in there. We're just trying our best to connect them with other professionals in the field and just trying to see if they can capitalize on those opportunities. But yeah, no, I definitely see a lot of the members, especially on the executive team that's just helped so much with this organization. They're definitely getting out in the field.
So what's next? Last night, one of the final comments that you made to me was how you hoped that as you left, you could find a way to look back and see that this organization kept moving forward and somehow grew or progressed in some way. How would you measure that success for you in 2 or 3 years if you if you turned around and looked back or came back to visit on campus, how would you measure that the organization has succeeded?
That's a really good question. Tough one to answer. I would hope that it's still active. I would hope that our lab is doing some interesting research, and that the chapter is still building connections with high schools and reaching out and bringing students into the InfoSec world and teaching them. Really, I would define success as coming back and seeing that we're still creating a passion for information security in our members and are still being pretty active. In the near future, I know that since I'm getting ready to move on and graduate, I've been really focusing on what's next. How do we now that we made this baby, how do we step back and see how it cruises? How do we set the precedents? How do we know how to handle elections in the future? And we need to define all of our committees' roles and responsibilities very well. So hopefully I can and my team can set up a good infrastructure and set this off right and leave something that will stick around at the university for many years to come. And maybe one day if I end up in the field, I might be working with somebody that got introduced to InfoSec by going to cyber at UC, and that's what got him in the field. That'd be awesome.
So what have you seen so far that maybe in the beginning you didn't realize, like things you didn't expect to see that you kind of know now that maybe you didn't know 2 years ago? Anything jump out and to kind of surprise you as far as that goes?
A lot. I mean, a lot. I've become pretty paranoid about my own security. I ended up just working around data collection and analysis and responding to incidents in my work. Kind of opened my eyes to the sheer massive scale of attacks big and small that are happening 24/7 all around the world. I ended up spending way too much money and building my own little PF-Sense firewall set up at my house. And
that was going to be my next question. What do you have set up at home?
Got the PF-Sense box, got a small GliNet router I got set up for AP just for VPN access point, running domain blocker, got about a little over or almost almost 2 million custom domains, trackers and ads, what have not blocked, and running Suricata IDS. And it's fun playing with that data at my house. I want to pipe it into an Elk stack and start doing, some cool visualizations and see if I can build a SOC at the house, but not there yet, man. I don't have the time for that yet. I get too busy with school, chapter, and work, man.
Well, one thing is you just sounded like what everybody thinks a hacker is, the nerd sitting at home with too much tech.
Yeah, with
and
a sock.
That's right.
You got a sock waiting on you.
That's right. And if they weren't in this field and they heard you say, I want to build a sock at home, I'm sure they're like, why does he care about smelly socks? So, yeah, right on. Right on. Yeah, that's right. This dude is talking about socks. What a great 5-year degree he got. Right?
Don't know anything.
So that's, as you were mentioning that about having that stuff at home and having that, when you're on campus, I mean, you're still a college kid. I hate to call you a kid. You're not really a kid, but you're still a college student. And, hopefully you're still enjoying that part of your young adult life. So do you get out with others who might be business majors or art or music majors or whatever, and they're chilling out with their iPhones and doing this and that, and are you freaking out with them like, turn that off or get a VPN? Or how is that for you around co-students?
Yeah. So I mean, we'll have like social events with the chapter, and then those are great to nerd out and all. But I got a lot of other friends in construction management, or marketing or business, or what have not, and you get me out, and we're hanging out, and if the topic of security comes up, they know better than that by now than to get me started. But I'll be like, oh man, Facebook Messenger, man, it's watching your location. It's gathering all this data about you. Why does this need to be 300 megabytes? What is this? I'll go off on a tangent. You can see some people's eyes glaze over. Other people are like, oh, holy crap. And other people give me crap for having a little, little slide over my webcam on my laptop. And I'll tell them, oh man, maybe you guys should, care about your privacy a little more. But it is what it is.
That's funny. It's funny as I work in the healthcare industry, and trying to get very educated, doctors and nurses and others who have, 4 to 15 years of school under their belt, and trying to get them scared enough to care about security is next to impossible unless they get breached in some way. And then all of a sudden they're calling like, hey, I need to talk to the nerd group because, something happened to me. So it's interesting that at a younger age you're already feeling that glassy, or experiencing the glassed over eyed expression, because we get that every day. So interesting.
People don't care unless their door is getting kicked in, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the same. Nobody cares if the cops are doing something until it's, like you said, until their door's getting kicked in. All of a sudden there's outrage. Who let the cops have that much power? And same with the hackers, We let the hackers have that much power by virtue of us not knowing how to take care of ourselves.
Well, you've given them the power, is how that works.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. What's
take
next?
The power back.
Yeah, Wyatt. Fight the power, man. Fight the man. Yeah. Wait a minute. We are the man. Hold on. Wait a minute. Are we part of the man now, Jason? I forget.
No, we're not. No. We're not putting the man down.
You're kind of the man. You're kind of part of the man. So at least Anthony, we can kind of dog on the man because we're not the man.
I'm the good part of the man. I'm the guy you actually want to see.
I don't know if there's such a thing as a good part of the man. I'm just saying.
It's the people. It's the part of the man that you don't see.
Yeah.
Well, there is that. There is that. Hey, so let's jump back real quick. And so you mentioned that, a faculty advisor had a little bit of time at the NSA, and that your group has had a chance to meet some NSA folks, and without. I won't drop names or anything, but you mentioned last night to me that you guys get to meet other high-ranking folks based on those contacts. But when you are first, as a student in InfoSec, when you first meet these these folks who have done that and work for those agencies, are you afraid to go ask them, like, well, I want to ask you about this, but can you tell me without killing me? Or, do you find that they're open enough to give you good info that you didn't think you would hear from them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sociable. I don't feel very intimidated. We're all on the same team in some instance. But yeah, like I'll approach them. I'm not too afraid to ask questions, and it's not like I'm asking drone specific questions, just that tell me your classified secrets. But I like to pick people's brains. What experiences they've had. What are some cool programs or some cool open source projects that you'd recommend us looking into? Is there something we should look at, some content we should go check out? You're telling me to go look at Iron Geek and browse through their content and share that with the chapter. So I love just talking to these people, picking their mind, and it's really great. A lot of the different little bits of insight you can get from talk to people in the field, and a lot of people are really open. I really do like the culture around the InfoSec community because people are generally pretty nice, pretty open.
Yep, you're right. There are people that are plenty interested in sharing what they've learned, and then unfortunately, if you haven't already, and I'm sure you probably have at work, but you'll find people who are this is mine, get out of my sandbox, and unfortunately, you just have to kind of fight around or sometimes through those people to.
Sometimes people are just naturally territorial. You'll have that.
Yeah. Turfism.
Yeah, I was trying to find another reason to pick on the government, but I can't for right now. So, Jason, you get by with that one.
Yeah, good luck.
So, what is your not desired? Let's rephrase that. What's your if you have a dream job yet? If you know what that dream job looks like, give us some idea of. And you might already be in it, but what's your dream job look like for you?
It's tough because there's so many, rabbit holes to go down in the field of InfoSec. I really, really enjoy doing analyst work and, connecting the dots around incidents, pulling in a bunch of OSINT and analyzing it, kind of like, I feel like a detective when I'm doing that, and that's a lot of fun. But I love coding. I love building things. It's just, I guess, the inner engineer in me. So I wouldn't be satisfied if I was sitting behind a desk, triaging alerts that, came at me from the guys that built the tools. So I love building the tools too. As for, dream job, man, that's really tough. That's a really tough one. I think it would be a really cool experience, and I know this is probably a long shot. It'd be very cool to do something with TAO, Tailored Access Operations Group, or something along those lines. But you asked me a dream job.
There you go. Well, more acronyms and more agencies, but no, I'm kidding. I didn't ask you that question to set you up, but I asked you that because, again, a lot of our guests are older, 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're kind of...
Dave's age.
Right. Yeah. You know what? You're going to be in Vegas with me, and there's a lot of desert out there with a lot of empty assholes. So
yes, sir.
so you just keep talking smack. No, but the reality is that
catch me first.
There's a lot of people that they're maybe already in their dream job, or maybe they're close enough to it that they've just decided that their dream job is getting paid well and 5 weeks of vacation. And
some people are like that.
Right.
Sometimes that's.
But it's nice to hear somebody have a dream job that actually involves doing things, not just getting paid to get away with things, right? So it was nice to hear that.
I want to do cool stuff, do something for a purpose, and just keep learning. Really, if a job can give me that, man, I'm a happy camper.
No doubt. Well, I mean, it seems like you have a good attitude, and the only advice that I can give is that this field will certainly, at times, give you reasons to just want to chuck stuff at people and be done with the field, but find ways to work through that nightmare and get back to doing the things you like, and you'll be all right. So. It is 9:35 in the East. We have spent the last 30 minutes or so talking with University of Cincinnati student / founder of Cyber at UC. He's a cyber analyst / DevOps person at a very large company who we won't mention. So he's this young man. I keep wanting to call you a kid, and you have to I apologize if I spit it out. But man, I'm really happy that to have bumped into you guys. And I just want to tell people that I was basically just kind of browsing around looking for local Cincinnati cybersecurity groups that I had not yet met, and I wanted to reach out to them and say, what are you guys about, and can I come meet somebody and learn something? You never know, I might learn something too, but the whole point was I wanted to just make sure I knew who was in my own backyard, and I was really surprised to read about you guys, and then I thought, oh man, it's a college user group, right? It's going to be 4 or 5 nerds, and that's going to be the end of it, and to find out that you guys are, you're what? So when school's in, I think you told me you're averaging in the 30s or more on a chapter night or something.
Yeah. So you get the big rush at the beginning of the fall semester. Get all the freshmen coming in. We really like to recruit then, and then we like to focus these first couple meetings, keep things, what I like to say, cyber sexy. And yeah, so if we keep it like that, and we'll have 30, 40, or more, we'll fill up our entire classroom. We hold our meetings in. People will be sitting on the floor. So we might have to try to get a bigger room, bigger place to hold our meetings in. But as it goes, people over the course of the school year get busy, get jobs, this, that, the other. But we still maintain a fairly solid, core group of members that, it's really a great group of people, man. It's really great. And, and it's not just us. We got a good relationship with the Cube Cats. They're presidents in Cyber at UC, and they focus a lot on RF. So, we always like to help out the other student organizations willing to collaborate with us, like, ACM. And I feel like that helps our attendance as well,
I never thought of it until just now, but so as school starts to come back in the fall, do you guys reach out to either college level organizations or even other student organizations and say, hey, you guys are doing this and that, we can provide some OPSEC or some other type of not technological security for your group for you, and cross promotes, cross-train, or whatever? I mean, have you had those types of opportunities at the college level yet?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, actually. It's just actually this past spring, we reached out to ACM. So, like, the following year, we went to ACM, ACM's Hackathon, Revolution UC. And it was a great time. Loved it there. Really great thing they got going. Me and some of the Cyber UC members got together. We built a wireless directional antenna out of a Pringles can and wrote some software to try to find hot spots wherever we point it. And it was great. We're like, okay, man, we got to go back next year and do something cool. What are we going to do? Well, let's reach out to them and see if they're interested in letting us host a CTF there for them. So this is where we actually got to use one of OWASP's little projects, OWASP Juice Shop. We set up a CTF competition there and kind of lent our services and that kind of thing, and that side of things, and helped them out with that, and that went really, really well. We've been brought on some other outreach events, like I know the National Society of Black Engineers had us out for an outreach event where we put on a what was it? It was a QR. Yeah, it was a QR code scavenger hunt for these elementary school kids that just had basic don't enter your password if you don't see the lock in the top left of the screen. Kind of questions like that. So that's kind of how we're collaborating right now. But now we got all this firepower we're sitting on in the lab. So I've been networking out with other student organizations, asking them if they want to collaborate with us in our lab at all.
There's a lot of, it's like you said, there's a lot of ways to do that. And like you said, now that you have the firepower, talking about the different servers and things that you guys have either had donated or able to purchase from the funding that you were getting. There's a lot of opportunity there. It seems now. I'm trying to think on the fly, but it seems like there's a lot of good integration opportunity. Talk a little bit, if you can, or how challenging has it been to get the female engineers or the ladies who might be interested in cybersec? Has it been a challenge to either A, identify those and get those ladies to come join, or B, are you still finding that there's just not many of them at the college level yet?
Well, we really do try to get as many of all types of people involved in our organization. Women in InfoSec come through. They're not a huge percentage of our members, and we have Grace. She's on our executive board, but we've had a couple other members. They come and go. So we're still trying to really build up that portion of our organization. Just to be more inclusive and all, but we're very, very open to it. Recruitment is still something that we're trying to figure out here. But no, I definitely agree with you on that. That's it's an important part.
Yeah, and I certainly didn't mean to imply that you guys aren't recruiting. I really, in the InfoSec field overall, ladies just don't seem to. They don't, whatever reason, they don't seem to like it. I don't know why, but at least not, like you said, not in big volumes. And that's unfortunate because a lot of times their innate patience can do wonders for the cybersecurity field, whereas some of us guys are too impatient that we jump the gun on many topics and sometimes probably hurt ourselves or shoot ourselves in the foot.
Well, I mean, something that we're trying to get the ball rolling on, and this is something that has come out of the mind of Vicki Baker. She was wanting to put on this camp at UC for women in high school, and have it focused on cybersecurity, CS topics, InfoSec topics, and we're looking to try to get our foot in the door there, and reach out to a lot of high school age females and try to get them, into the field, because it's such a cool field, man.
There is. There's a lot of money to be made, a lot of fun to be had, a lot of aggravation to endure, but in the grand scheme of things, it's I think it's a pretty awesome field myself. So I get the hiccups all of a sudden. It's 9:45 in the East. I'm Dave. He's Jason. I get the hiccups too. So before we let you go, Anthony, talk a little bit about anything else that, if there was a topic that you thought, man, when I get on radio, I want to make sure we talk about whatever, whether it's something about the InfoSec field that you're excited about or confused about and that we didn't talk about it, or even if you just have organizations that you want to give shout outs to or things, and we certainly want to make sure that you mention how to get in touch with you guys. So, take it away. This is your few minutes to kind of shout out / promote anything and everything you want to. It's all yours.
Yeah, I have to, start off and give a really, warm thank you, and I have so much appreciation and so much love for the members that are on the executive board of Cyber at UC that have helped build this organization into what it is today, and I could not do this myself without our team. So Vice President Ryan O'Connor, our Content and Information Chair, Corey McPhillips, our Finance Chair, Ryan Boss, our Outreach Chair, Grace Scamsetter, our Recruitment Chair, Greg Barker, and our Public Affairs Chair, Jai Singh. These people have just been an amazing help and have done great things for organization. I can't also leave out John Franco, Professor Franco. He's done amazing things for us, has been a huge part in reaching out and helping us procure funding. Vicki Baker's been a huge help for us, and she's the head of basically everything cyber-related at UC. And Mark Cahay, the head of the engineering department, if I'm naming names, these people have really helped bring us, up a couple levels. Let's see. If anyone wants to get in contact with us or, learn a little bit more about us, we have a website. It's cyber@uc.org. We have our meeting time on there, and we have a little section called meetings, and it has all of our past meetings, or most of them, except for maybe some of the first few ones that were back in the day of us growing. So you can see all of our content there. We're trying to get a blog started. So reach out to us, Cyber@UC, and we're also @Cyber@UC on Twitter. And just to kind of put this out there too, we are always looking for other professionals in the field who want to connect with us. We want to connect with you. If you want to come out and talk to us about anything that you might find, cyber sexy, cool in the field, or relevant today, we would love to have anybody else, come to our meetings. Or if giving a talk isn't your thing, we're more than happy to, just listen to what advice you may have to give on the lab we're putting together. And if you have any high schools you want us to reach out to, let us know that too. So we're just basically trying to get out there, collaborate, build the organization up, and really try to make an impact and inspire a generation of some really well qualified, dedicated security professionals. Because one of the main missions of our Cyber@UC group is to kind of inspire and create that culture of information security, which I don't really think we have enough today. Like you said, people typically don't care enough, in my opinion at least, about their security and privacy. So.
Right on. And since we did talk about a little bit last night, around the greater Cincinnati area where University of Cincinnati is, we have other colleges. We have Cincinnati State and Xavier and Northern Kentucky and many others, Thomas More, etc. You're welcome. You're inviting and open to students of those universities to come and join and participate with you guys as well, right?
Oh yeah, we have students from outside UC come, quite often. In fact, one of our members on our public affairs committee, who's just done some great job with our social media. He's not even from the University of Cincinnati, and he's been able to reach out with us and collaborate in an awesome way. That's John. We're always looking to collaborate with other schools in the area and maybe even set up other chapters. I'm more than happy to help anybody else out that wants to do what we've done here at UC somewhere else, and just spread the word.
Right on. Well, man, it seems like just in the 36 hours that I've had opportunity to really kind of read about you guys and to experience, an hour or so with you guys last night in person, and to hear about kind of your humble beginnings versus where you stand now. There's nothing humble about some of the things you guys have already attained. So bravo to all the people that you mentioned, whose names I will be remiss if I try to even say again, but just know that if all of you people had IP addresses, I would remember you like no other. But I can't remember a name to save my life.
That's about the time you need the applause from the sound.
That's right. We did that. Wait a minute. I think he's listening. Hold on. Here it goes. I hear it. Yeah, there we go. Yay! That's right. The crowd goes wild. So, all right. Well, man, Anthony, thanks for, I know it's kind of a last minute deal, pretty quick in the last week to reach out and get you on here. But, man, thanks for letting me come out and check you guys out last night. And I will certainly, from a local cybersecurity professional standpoint, do what I can to lend a hand or do whatever I can to help you guys out. So I look forward to staying involved to whatever level is possible. And, man, just I don't want to say I'm awestruck because, man, I'm not like silly about it, but I really am impressed.
Because Dave acts like he talks things up, but he definitely didn't do that. That is pretty impressive.
I really appreciate the kind words, guys, and I really appreciate you guys having me on the show, honestly, and hopefully we can keep moving this organization forward.
Yeah, right on. If we're around, if we happen to be around for another year, we'd like to probably have you back on.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how see how it looks in a year. That'd be interesting to do. So maybe for graduation we'll come up and we'll walk graduation with you. No, I'm kidding. I'm not doing that, but I'm kidding. No, right on. So, all right. Well, we're just about running out of time with Anthony, so we're gonna cut you loose. But again, thanks, buddy, and you'll certainly be hearing from me via email for all the things that I told you last night that I would send you. Your email box will get some stuff here pretty soon. So.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate having you, you coming on and having you talk with us. So thanks again.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right.
Dave, and have a great night.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Jason, man,
yeah,
I tell you. Yeah, is that you? That's Jason?
Yeah, that's me.
All right, I just checking you, making sure that's you. I tell you, man, it's it's exciting to have him on and to really be able to share what those. I keep wanting to say kids. I'm finally going to say it,
I think so far this is the youngest guy that's been on the show.
Oddly enough, being one of the youngest guys, and he still had enough experience and presence in the field to be able to speak intelligently and to be able to outline what it's like to start an organization like their chapter and articulate the challenges and the things they have to learn. They still have to learn for themselves how to set up committees and how to do recruitment and
definitely
things that big organizations already know.
And more importantly, you didn't call him Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan. No, I think that was a one-time thing. I don't really. Well, I know why it was. It's because I had a chat window in my face with that guy's name, and that's what was throwing me off.
I'm just perpetuating.
But still, I know. But
we're
I'm still So every episode, I've got that chat window up in my face. So I don't know how I haven't done that again. So
this is like the third episode in a row of. At the end of the show, I was telling you, at least you didn't call him Ryan.
That's right. Well, I keep minimizing that window when it comes up so that it doesn't distract me during the show, so I don't say the wrong name. So, yeah, you never know. Like I said, if everybody had an IP, I'd know them. But the names, names kill me. So, all right. Well, it is 9:54 in the East. We're just about out of time. Next week's guest is. Oddly enough, and I didn't intend it this way, but next week's guest might very well be one of the more interesting guests. Now, I can't say her name yet because she's asked me to not pre-promote her appearance. Literally, we're going to say her name for the first time when she comes on air with us. She is very well known on Twitter, and she is going through. I'm not sure how much I can say because it might give away. Because she's so well known that if I say what she's going through, it's probably going to tip it. So I guess I should not say that. But
I have an idea who you're talking about.
Be that as it may, as I can't say much more than this. I can say that it's a she, I guess, but I've already done that. So I got that far anyway.
Yeah, now you got nothing.
That's right. Now I got nothing. This show's over. Goodbye. No. But yeah, so she's had an interesting last 18 months, to say the least. And she's very well versed in OSINT and cybersecurity and InfoSec and any other acronym you want to call things. But she also came up against a very bigger problem that she's still going through. And we're not going to, it's weird, so we're not going to talk about that even with her much. But the odd thing is, as soon as everybody hears her name for the first time and then hears what she's talking about, I think you're going to hear, you know how it is, like when you can tell somebody's trying not to say something like I am right now, right? That
you want to say.
Yeah,
it.
well, you almost say like too much, right? Because you're trying not to say the wrong thing.
You haven't said enough, Dave.
But I think next week, I think that's the way the interview is going to go with her. Is that I think she's going to very much try to avoid a specific topic so much that I think it's going to be one of those things where you almost can't help it, but it being addressed in some left-handed way. So I'm actually pretty excited about how that interview. That's right. Well, no, I mean I've told her that we wouldn't go crazy with her, but on that topic. But I'm very excited because like I said, outside of the issue, we'll call it the issue. She's had a great career and some great things that she's done, and just from that alone will fill an hour, and I'm sure the other stuff could probably fill a day. But anyway, so I'm excited for her next week. And other than that, Jason finally got his tickets booked to Vegas, so we get out there a little bit, and then we're going to DC to Besides DC. That's in October. Besides, I wonder if you
don't have to worry about hotel there.
There you go. That's right.
Crash at my house.
There you go. You guys heard that. We're all crashing at Jason's house. Besides DC, just crash at Jason's. That's what he said. We don't have to worry about hotels.
For airfare.
Right on. All right. Well, then that's going to just about cover us for tonight. What a great time, Anthony, if you're still listening. And for those of you at Cyber at UC, thanks again for having me. And what a great organization you guys are doing up there, and girls. And I look forward to staying involved as much as I can. So thanks to everyone for just being who you are. Cue that's right. Cue the sappy music. No.
Yeah.
All right. I got nothing else. Jason, any final words of wisdom?
See you next week.
There you go. That's the smartest thing you said all day. All right. All right. I'm out of here. I'm Davey. Jason. Good night, everybody.
Yep. Later.
Thank you for listening to Bring Your Own Security Radio. Join us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a new episode. Find us on Facebook and on Twitter at BYOS Radio, or find us on the web at bringyourown.security.net. Safe browsing, everyone.